You have just tapped into the Christian Life Coach Collective, and I'm your host, Laura Malone. I'm here to equip and encourage coaches in skills, business, personal life, and faith. I believe you're already 100% worthy and capable, and you're called for such a time as this. So let's get you walking it out with courage and confidence so you can be an amazing coach who sees transformation and great results in both your life and the lives around you. Let's get started. When you start charging for coaching, one of the biggest questions that's going to rise up for you is, am I really worth it? And it's tempting to think that value comes from how much you are giving. You want to tell clients, oh my gosh, I have the best worksheets and I give more time than you paid for. I want to give more availability on my calendar. I want to have more bonuses. But honestly, piling on extras doesn't necessarily create more transformation for anybody. And I've learned over the years, because I have done all these things, that it can actually create more noise and confusion and overwhelm, which is not awesome in hindsight when you find out that's what you did for a long time. The other thing that's true is that people don't come to coaching asking for like an entire curriculum or some 20-step plan that you have laid out ahead of time, because coaching isn't like a prescription that you can guarantee will work if they take it on a daily basis, like some prescriptive advice framework that you hand out. It's very nuanced and it's really supposed to be client led. So they don't need every tool you ever created for a coaching session all at once, right? And they don't even need to know about them. What they do need is for you to cultivate and communicate real value in the moment. You need to guide them into clarity, help them untangle all the things that feel crazy or complicated or chaotic. And you have to just guide them to see the next steps that they can take. So, real value for anybody is going to look like helping them move from confusion to clarity about any given thing or area of their life, from fear to peace and rest, from hopeless to hopeful, from stuck to taking the next step. So that's what a client's going to pay for. They're not buying the length of a session or the size of a workbook. They're looking for the results, the shift they're going to experience inside of the session. So that's where having something like a framework, like the Pearl practice, matters a lot. Like, you're not just throwing questions out in the air and hoping that they land. You actually guide somebody through a process that invites them to show up for it. It reveals what's really going on for them. It helps them untangle their emotions. It leads to intentional action and produces the results they actually want and will see. That's transformation, and that is value. Proverbs 22:29 says, do you see a person skilled in his work? He will stand in the presence of kings. So will she. Skill grows your value. The more skilled you become at helping people make the shift, the more natural it is going to feel to charge people appropriately for your work. You're not asking them to pay for time with you. You're asking them to invest in their own future. So you have to learn how to communicate value without a prescription, without a 20-step plan. They don't care about all of the steps in your signature program. They want to know that you understand who they are right now and you get who they want to be. You understand where they are on the map and where they want to go. So by giving people real life examples of what can happen in coaching with them, you can communicate value. I'm going to give you some examples. A confidence coach could say, a lot of my clients come in second guessing themselves. And you can even dial that in more and say, a lot of my clients come in second guessing themselves in building their business, in their parenting, in their health journey, right? In coaching, we work through the stories behind that doubt so they can show up at work, at home, for themselves, whatever it is, with more confidence and less hesitation. And then you can share like what you've actually had an experience with a client. And like just last week, a client told me she finally stood up and talked in a meeting that she had been dreading. Like she doesn't like doing that, but she did it and it shifted how her whole team saw her. And now she feels confident enough to show up and try it again next week, right? A health and wellness coach can say, my role isn't to hand you a one size fits all program. Instead, we're actually going to look at your whole life, your holistic, actual day to day life, your habits, your energy, your stress. I'm going to help you make simple and sustainable shifts that really stick for you. One client I had thought she needed a full diet overhaul, but we just started working on just her evening routines, and now she sleeps through the night for the first time in years, right? So, we're talking about where you are and where I can help you go. A leadership coach could say that leadership coaching isn't about handing you a checklist, it's about having space to think, process, and strategize. One client was overwhelmed trying to manage a team and launch a new project, but through coaching, she realized the real issue was how she was delegating. So once she shifted that approach, her workload cut in half, and now her team has stepped up more than ever. Right? So these examples give people a little taste of what value looks like without needing to see what a whole curriculum, so to speak, looks like. Like, what am I going to do over if I work with you for 6 months? What are we going to do in every session? The best laid plans. Let me just tell you, if you decide that you're going to work with somebody for 6 months and you have a plan for that weekly or biweekly session with them and you think you know how it's going to go, I'm so excited for you to learn because the human element's going to show up and he or she is going to get in front of you and it's going to throw off your plan completely. Now, if you want somebody to just follow your plan and for your time with them to not be nuanced or client led, then you need to do something besides coaching. You can do a course, you can do a mastermind, you can tell people, like, we're going from here to here in this amount of time, and you're just going to come with me. And you need to book a session with me if you need something outside of that framework I give you. But that's not your prescription of a framework of how somebody gets from here to here does not work without them being involved and influencing that direction. So this week, I want you to just think about practicing sharing value. Like, write down one example from your own coaching or even just your own life experience if you're just starting out, where somebody moved from being stuck to having clarity, whatever it is. Keep it short, couple of sentences. I already give you some examples for a template. Try saying it out loud like you're going to tell a potential client, talk into the mirror, tell your friends, speak it to your dog, and notice how much easier it starts feeling to talk about value when you focus on the transformation instead of trying to explain your entire process. Because I know it sounds like, especially when you're starting out or you're creating a new offer, it feels like you should give more details. But really, they don't want more details about you and your process. They want details about them and theirs. So commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. That's Proverbs 16:3, right? So you've got this, go after it. Book a session with me, sterlingandstonementoring.com. Links are all in the show notes if you need help in this area. Okay. I'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening. For more coaching resources and to learn how to work with me, head to sterlingandstonementoring.com or click the link in the show notes. Remember, walk boldly in your calling, and I'll talk to you next time.